So I was just making a video about saying the importance of staying sober in mind, and towards the end of it, I was like, I'm gonna throw this into another video because I didn't want to make that video too long. This is like slightly of a different topic. So this is the different topic. I noticed this when I started to abstain for the first time, when I started to attempt to stop watching pornography and whatnot. And I was smoking weed at the time, right? So I was smoking weed like 3 times a day, right? At this time period. And I noticed that when I was smoking weed all the time, I was also touching myself all the time. So when I was touching myself all the time, my natural vibration was low. My natural base dopamine was low. So whenever I smoked weed, it brought it up here, right? So normally I was like here, smoked weed, brought me up here. Whatever the case. When I started to abstain, I think I explained this in the video, but when I started to abstain from that stuff, of course I didn't start off perfect, you know what I mean? I was still like trying my best, but still though, it's cumulative. That type of stuff is cumulative. So over time, over like a month or two, I think it was literally just like a month or two, July, 3 months, like 3 months in, I started to realize like I felt better when I wasn't high. And I was like, whoa, that's like bizarre. Like the first time I've ever felt that. And I realized it's because as I was abstaining, my base dopamine was rising, right? So now instead, when my base dopamine was like up here now, and I'd smoke and it would bring me here. And I'm like, wait, I feel worse now that I just smoked. And something else that I realized is I was blocking my base dopamine from being here to up here because I kept smoking. So I kept like bringing it down because my base dopamine was reliant on the weed and the abstaining, not just the abstaining. You see what I'm saying? So I feel like anything mind altering, caffeine, weed, alcohol, nicotine, whatever it is, anything mind altering that brings you dopamine is going to be in the way and not allow your base dopamine to be risen to where it could be from abstaining. So in simpler terms, like if you're smoking every day and you're trying to abstain, you're not going to feel those day 7, let's just say like whatever, like that in a week in, those benefits from like a week in, if you're smoking, because instead you're only going to feel that dopamine when you're high as opposed to when you're not high. You're not going to feel it, you know? So when you're not sober in mind, your dopamine is being affected by so many different sources that the abstaining doesn't have as much of an effect. So only when you're sober in mind does the abstaining really connect you spiritually to God in the way that you want it to. You know, to where you feel better and you feel more connected with God and whatnot. Because when you have and you feel that higher base dopamine, the way to increase your base dopamine the fastest is being fully sober, because you don't have these external sources getting in the way, like freaking Heartlesses in Kingdom Hearts. You know what I mean? Like just these shadows popping out of nowhere. You got to fight them all off like a freaking video game, like a PS2 game. You know what I'm trying to say? So yeah, hopefully that made sense. That's pretty much it. Yeah, just try to stay sober in mind. It's gonna help you out so much because it's going to allow your base dopamine to be higher up quicker, you know? And anything mind altering is you're getting dopamine from that. So your dopamine receptors are being like supercharged, like freaking Pikachu using Thunderbolt on your brain, you know? But when you remove that, you allow yourself the ability to have a higher base dopamine. So yeah.